It's time to introduce ourselves to ourselves. Many of us are familiar with the idea that we have a body and a soul, but how much do we actually know about our soul? In fact, we often think, how much can you even know about your soul? It's something which is spiritual, right? It's something which is out of our realm. But the truth of the matter is we can actually understand quite a lot about our soul. And in doing so, it can only be beneficial to us. It can help us in our relationships. It can help us know what we need to do in life, how we need to do it. To know ourselves is a very helpful thing. So let's try. Let's try and get to know ourselves. Let's try and get to know our soul. We have actually 4 levels to our soul. The Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, and Chaya. So let's investigate them a little bit. The Nefesh is the thing which gives us our basic life force. It's the most basic part of our spirituality, and it corresponds to our faculty of action. When we're moving, going about our day and doing very practical actions, so the ability to do so comes from the Nefesh. People who use their Nefesh quite a lot in their professions would be people like athletes or even cleaners or maybe even surgeons. These are people who have to have very precise movements and the action is really the key to their job. So they're people who are using their Nefesh most of the day. The Nefesh is something which sits in the liver and circulates throughout the body in the blood. And that's the first level of our spirituality. So that's our Nefesh. Moving up, we have the Ruach. So the Ruach is that which sits in our heart, and it corresponds to our speech. Our ability to speak comes from our Ruach, in addition to our emotions and our character. So our Ruach is the thing which is giving us this speech, emotions, character, and essentially it's our connection. It's our connection to the outside world. That which comes through our speech is a very practical connection, which comes through emotion is a bit of a deeper connection. Our character is kind of like our interface, what we show to the world. So our Ruach is like our connection. People who use this in their daily life would be, for example, like counselors, therapists, even poets. These are people who are using speech, and particularly of the emotional kind. These are people who are using their ruach in their profession, the emotions and the speech and the character. So that's the second level of our spirituality, is our ruach. The third level of our spirituality is our neshama, and that is what corresponds to our mind and our intellect and our thoughts. We, when we're thinking, analyzing, interpreting, logical conclusions, that's something which is coming from our neshama. It's our neshama which is giving us the ability to do that. So that is something which is primarily corresponding to our brain, unsurprisingly. And people who use this in their professions would be people like lawyers, possibly a diagnostic consultant, other people could be academics. So all these people are people who are using their mind, they're analyzing, they're meant to be thinking about things all the time. Those are people who are primarily applying their trade with their neshama, and that is the third level of spirituality that we all have. We have nefesh, which is our actions, our ruach, which is our speech, and neshama, which is our thoughts. And we have even one level of our soul which is higher than that, and that is called our chaya. Chaya is something which is so spiritual, it can't even enter the body. In fact, it resides above us and even in some senses surrounds us. It corresponds to our ability to dream. It corresponds to our ratzon, our deep will to make something more, to do something more. What can we do for ourselves? What can we do in the world? How can we go beyond that which is? And develop and make something more. So that's this most high level of our functionality that we have is our ratzon, our willpower, our ability to dream and to envision. And that is something which comes from our chaya. So it's actually amazing. We have part of our spirituality which is within us and part of our spirituality which surrounds us. So these are our 4 levels: nefesh, ruach, neshama, chaya, which is primarily action, speech, thought, and will. And we're all using these. These are it seems very esoteric, it's our soul, but the truth is we're very practically using these every day. So my question to you at this stage is as follows. Are there any of these that you identify with more than others? We all have all of them, but sometimes we find a particular affinity to doing, to speaking, to thinking, or even to dreaming. So do you have a particular affinity to one of them? And the answer to that question may be very significant for our next episode.